Bakit po ba ganito na lang ang galit sa akin nitong kasalukuyang administrasyon ni Pangulong Aquino? Hindi lamang dito sa impeachment court, sa kagalang-galang na impeachment court na ito, kundi sa buong sambayan ng Pilipino na pinangakuan ko na ako'y magpapaliwanag. Sa aking pananaw po, 30 dahilan kung bakit ako ay sinampahan nitong impeachment complaint na ito. Ang una po, ang unti-unting pagmamaniobra at pagsakop ng kaliwa sa pamamahala ng gobyerno at ang kanilang napipitong takeover ng ating bansa.
Thousands gathered not to protest but to show support for the incoming Duterte administration.
Duterte, maluwag yung bunganga. Sabi niya, yung kapag akong presidente, isang paa ng NPA nasa mga kanila. No? Ready for coalition.
Ang lolo ko, Chinese, from Xiamen.
Walang masama sa left, and I belong to the left.
Well, not really. I've learned a lot during my prosecution.
I'm Chinese.
We planted evidence. We arrested persons, but we released them. But telling him that it was this person who squealed on him. And then when he goes out but killing, then we said that it was this fellow who really did it. I told him that one bullet will do. I would like to be all criminals. We planted evidence.
Pangalawang dahilan, ang kagustuhan ng Pangulong Aquino na kontrolin ang 3 sangay ng gobyerno at sirain pagkapantay-pantay ng executive, ng legislative at ng judiciary. Paggamit ng lakas at kapangyarihan para makuha lamang itong adhikaing layuning ito. Pangatlong dahilan, ang matinding galit ng hasyenderong Pangulo sa pagkakatalo niya tungkol sa Hacienda Luisita. Ano po ba ang karapatan ng Pangulong Aquino na ikagalit sa pamamahagi ng Hacienda Luisita sa magsasaka? Ang lupaing ito ay pinahiram lamang sa kanila. Inagaw lamang itong lupang ito sa mga ninuno ng mga kasalukuyang magsasaka. Halos 60 taon na pinakinabangan at pinagkakitaan nila ang Hacienda Luisita. At pagkatapos ngayon, ayaw na nilang isoli. Halos 60 taon na pinakinabangan at pinagkakitaan ng Hacienda Luisita. At pagkatapos ngayon ay gusto pa silang bayaran ng bilyong-bilyong piso na kapalit.
And noon, they were in the rural areas.
His coming with at least 200 members of business elite.
Because we have kept our country in eternal.
Pero huwag kayong magtingin sa akin, hindi ako pwede yan. If I sense that the country is about to go overboard, I will declare revolutionary law. Hindi ko kayo tinatakot, pero huliin ko kayo lahat. I will clear the streets and I will declare all government positions.
Duterte's war on drugs, explained. From July 1st to August 30th of this year, 550,000 houses were visited, 12,900 suspects arrested, 800 search warrants implemented, 895 suspects killed, and 626,000 drug user and pushers surrendered. This means that 97.8% surrendered, 2% arrested, and only 0.14% killed. What about the accusation of extrajudicial killings? Did Duterte condone extrajudicial killings? This has been shown to be not true. In fact, in his inaugural speech he said,
As a lawyer and a former prosecutor, I know the limits of the power and authority of the President. I know what is legal and what is not. my adherence to due process and the rule of law is uncompromising.
And in his State of the Nation address he said,
To our police officers and other officials, do your job, and you will have the unwavering support of the office of the President. I will be with you all the way. Abuse your authority, and there will be a hell to pay. For you will have become worse than criminality itself. I order the National Police Commission to hasten the conduct of investigation and adjudication of administrative cases against police officers involved in criminal activity and illegal activity, and prescribe policies on lifestyle checks for PNP members.
what about his shoot-to-kill orders? This is what he actually said.
I repeat again for all everybody's consumption. Do not kill if you are not in danger of losing your life. But in effecting an arrest, when there is a violent resistance, because in effecting an arrest, you have to overcome the guy to bring him to the folds of the law. If you cannot bring him to the police station, if you cannot place him under the control of the law, because that is your job, to arrest, which means to overcome the resistance. But if the resistance is violent, thereby placing your life in jeopardy, shoot and shoot him dead. Can I be more clearer than that?
But who is behind the vigilante killings?
For the extrajudicial killing, they say, it's not the work of the police to be wrapping people with plastics and put them into the bag. That is not the job of the police. I just told him that one bullet will do. Why do you have to wrap it as it waste your time?
So, who are actually behind these killings? First, there are drug groups killing other members of competing drug groups. This is also happening in other countries. Second, drug lords hire assassins to kill users and pushers who have surrendered to the police. This is to silence them and prevent them from exposing the drug lords. There are also other deaths unrelated to the war on drugs, which are blamed on Duterte. The opposition who controls most of the local media blame these deaths to Duterte to make him appear as a mass murderer.
Pero yung pinatay na hindi natin na binalot ng mga sako, binaplastic, the police, I assure you, would not waste their time on that. So kung pati ba naman yan, isali ninyo na wala akong kamuang-muang, pakisali na lang po sa namatay ng lahat dyan sa punerarya, pati yung may mga cancer, isali na lang ninyo, may mga diabetes, may mga... Kasi yung lahat na nakita yung patay, binibilang ninyo sa akin. Baka yung gusto ninyo, yung taga-Davao dito, magbilang ako sa punerarya, lahat ng patay. Bakit lang yung binabalot ng mga sako? Because the accusation itself is very stupid. It assumes right away na yung may patay dyan, gobyerno ang pumatay.
Police officers found involved in drugs are relieved, investigated, and prosecuted. In fact, Duterte publicly named officials involved in drugs. There are generals, police officials, congressmen, mayors, judges, and a senator. Drug lords and public officials involved in drugs are now trying to bring the fight in the international arena due to the fact that 91% of the Filipinos support Duterte. Will they succeed?
Walang palisiya ang gobyerno na pumatay ng walang awa ang gobyernong ito. Meron po yung nasa revised penal code, yung state of necessity, self-defense, fulfillment of duty. Yun lang po pag nasa panganib ang buhay ng mga pulis. Ako po mismo makapagpapatotoo na wala pong utos sa mga pulis na pumatay ng walang kaawa-awa. Kaya po yung mga kliyente namin, 80,000 plus nakakulong, buhay, hinuli ng mga kapulisan natin. Kasi kawawa naman po yung mga pulis na handang ibuwis ang kailang buhay para sa ating inang bayan. Parang nalalahat na sila.
Meaning, if you have 1/3 of your population but they're into drugs, there's no money for health, there's no money for education, or your education is not relevant to the 21st century, then your potential becomes a liability or a problem. Well, but I guess, it's every now and then a revolution of some kind happens or is needed. So,
Meron po.
Ang lolo ko, Chinese, from Xiamen.
I'm Chinese.
We planted evidence. We said that it was this fellow who really did it.
we don't have any other choice. The other choice is to just allow drugs to take over the country. Then a revolution of some kind happens or is needed. Well, but I guess, it's, every now and then a revolution of some kind happens or is needed. So, a revolution of some kind happens or is needed.
Why we have kept our country in eternal poverty? Why?
I will revolt from the inside.
Matagal ko ng ambisyon niya na maging hero rin ako.
Then a revolution of some kind happens or is needed. The Philippines, in a few years, are 1/3 of our population will be below 20 years old. The Philippines, in a few years, are 1/3 of our population will be below 20 years old.
Intentional killing o sinadya raw ang pagpatay kay Carl Angelo Arnaiz. Yan na lumabas sa otopsiya ng Public Attorney's Office sa bangkay ng binata. Idinulog na po ng PAO ang kaso ni Carl sa Department of Justice. Duda ang PAO na nanlaban ng binata, lalo posibleng nakaluhod na raw ito ng barilin.
May mga palatandaan din daw na kinaladkad at binugbog pa si Carl bago siya pinatay. Nakatutok si Dano Pingkunggo.
Ginawang parang firing range yung katawan. Dito, alpha, tatlo. Oh. Tapos dito, ay, ginawang firing range yung bata. Di ba, alpha dyan? Oh. Ay, saan mabubuhay doon? Kaya naman, tulog ng tenga, sa likod ng tenga, tapos dito.
Ganito inilarawan ni Public Attorney's Office Chief Persida Acosta. Nakita nila sa katawan ng 19 na taong gulang na si Carl Angelo Arnaiz matapos i-reautopsy ng kanilang forensic expert. Sabi ng PAO, 5 ang tinamong tama ng bala ng binatilyo. 3 sa gitna ng dibdib, 1 sa gilid ng dibdib malapit sa tagiliran at 1 sa likod ng braso. Base raw sa tama ng bala, walang kalaban-laban si Carl ng barilit.
Yung 2 o 3 gunshot wounds dito inflicted while based on trajectory studies namin, mukhang nakaload siya at that time. Yung unang 2 or 3 shots, and then the last 2 shots inflicted while nakahiga na siya.
Philippines was administered 330 years by Mexico. So we say that the Philippine history is 300 years of the Catholic Church, 60 years of Hollywood, and then we took over.
Wala pong pronouncement ang gobyerno na may pattern dito.
So, why am now...
Well, they're outrageous comments. They show either a high level of ignorance or a disdain for history, or both.
Are you blessed? By the children of God who systematically slaughtering and murdering all the children of our Father in heaven? This movie is dedicated to the Philippine national hero Dr. Jose P. Rizal and specially to all the Jews of the Kingdom of Israel, to the Filipinos, to all the soldiers of the world, to all the civilians in the Philippines like our beloved Lumad tribes in Mindanao, to all the lamb or martyrs for the gods of this world, and to my brothers, sisters, children of our Father in heaven who lost their lives due to false accusations and fabrication of fake news and fake history of the children of God of this world. This is dedicated to the Heavenly Father who made himself like a humble crucified King of Israel who show his love and forgiveness to humanity.
Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God.
Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye, when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely, for my sake. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. Ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt has lost his savour, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven.
Ang suka na with the death that's happening in our country. And I think yung homily ni Bishop Sok was quite clear. No? Sabi niya, kailangan nating itigil ito. To get to the part of healing, kailangan matigil na muna yung patayan sa ating bansa. And I think it's something na nagbubuklod-buklod sa amin.
When you lie, you put another lie to cover this lie. Then to cover this lie, you put another lie. To cover this lie, patong-patong na yan. Pag kinunan mo ng isa lang bubagsak yan.
Bigotry seems emboldened. Our politics seems more vulnerable to conspiracy theories and outright fabrication. There are some signs that the intensity of support for democracy itself has waned, especially among the young. We've seen our discourse degraded by casual cruelty. At times it can seem like the forces pulling us apart are stronger than the forces binding us together. Argument turns too easily into animosity. Disagreement escalates into dehumanization. Too often we judge other groups by their worst examples, while judging ourselves by our best intentions, forgetting the image of God we should see in each other. We've seen nationalism distorted into nativism. We've forgotten the dynamism that immigration has always brought to America. Bigotry or white supremacy in any form is blasphemy against the American creed.
You're not a member of the ruling elite, stay out. Basta yung gusto kanila, gusto ka pag ayaw ka, and if you're not a member of the ruling elite, stay out. But that is why sabi ko, gusto ninyo. They will hear. But if I become president, I'd be prim and proper. And those elected really take care of the elite, the billionaires here, the PDP guy, the family, the elite. From Xiamen. So I have a line in my family na puro muro. Kasi sabi ko, what do you want me to do? Shoot the Moro or shoot the Christian? That is the reason why. Kaya mainit. Kaya ganun kung bakit magtanong. Bakit ba dito? Sa Pilipinas, patayan. In other nations, some vote, some don't, and no big deal. Yung iba naman pumapalag. That is the reason why. Kaya ganun. Why? Because ang lolo ko, Chinese, from Xiamen. Nakatira ka ba doon? Hindi. Bakasyon lang. May kilala ka sa Davao? Wala rin. Kasi nakatira ako sa Davao. Doon ako lumaki. Pero kami doon sa Visayas nga, we grew up in a neighborhood. Mix kami lahat. No tribe can claim dominance there.
From Xiamen, China. Magsisinungaling ka.
So I have a line in my family na puro Moro. From Xiamen.
From Xiamen, China. Magsisinungaling ka.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Ready for coalition.
Our country will just go to the dogs in a few years. But the Philippines is a democracy. Our country will just go to the dogs.
Sabi ko, kung ako ang mapresidente, per chance, either patayin mo ako o patayin kita. Sabi ko, what do you want me to do? Shoot the Moro or shoot the Christian? Shoot the Moro or shoot the Christian?
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
I'm Chinese.
Walang masama sa left.
From Xiamen.
Ako po si Mr. Rio.
From Xiamen, China. Magsisinungaling ka.
Get to the part of healing, kailangan matigil na muna yung patayan sa ating bansa. And I think it's something na nagbubuklod-buklod sa amin.
It's only the rich and the elite at yung mga old ruling families. Sino yung nagiging presidente ng Pilipinas? Dito lang.
It's being talked in just a small room, drinking scotch at sinong kandidato natin nga, patawag mo si contribution niya, sabihin mo, 40 billion siya. O dito kayo sa akin, sagad kayong lahat. Wala man akong hiningi sa inyong piso. Ngayon sa survey, bumaba na raw ako, extrajudicial killing. Kung maniwala kayo sa yang basura na yan.
A warm welcome, please, for His Excellency, Foreign Secretary from the Philippines, Alan Cayetano.
For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. That is found in Jeremiah 29:11. And although it is comforting to believe in a father that has great plans for his children, the reality is that in the same book, it talks about the devil who plans to cheat, steal, and destroy.
The gentleman at the back, do I have another question? I'll take two at a time. The gentleman in the cap. Good
evening, Secretary Cayetano. My name is Fred Andes. I'm a UST high school graduate. I currently chair the Department of Sociology, and I coordinate the Alcohol and Drug Studies program at New Jersey City University in Jersey City. My question is, what is the current status of drug treatment, especially for those who surrender to the authorities as a result of their drug abuse problem? Thank you.
A high-level target drug lord was caught. And it was in all the papers, and it was in the police blotter. But the drug lord told the police, if you do not release me and let me go in 10 days, you will be removed. And you'll see all the articles of how synthetic drugs are invading communities and destroying lives. We refuse to watch and do nothing as the Philippines becomes a narco state and as we lose a whole generation of our children to narcotics. The Philippines was administered 330 years by Mexico. So we say that the Philippine history is 300 years of the Catholic Church, 60 years of Hollywood, and then we took over. We don't have any other choice. The other choice is to just allow drugs to take over the country. But that was how powerful drugs were. And maybe I'm a good person to speak about the long-term relationship because my mother is actually from Michigan. Her father is a first-generation German immigrant.
Ikinagagala ko pong ipakita sa inyo ang brand new Malacanang Press Briefing Room. Sabi nga ng mga nakakatanda dito na this is the first time na nagkaroon ng deliberate effort na i-professionalize ang Malacanang Press Briefing Room. So kung ang itsura niya ay ganito dati, ngayon, follow me.
Huli kasama na si TV. No? Hindi tumulong dito sa mga to. Ay, kuha nila yun, no? Ayan. Hindi lapasin. Uy, kaya ulo-alot na lang kaya mo. Oo, nadapaanan, no? I think so. Tumingin pa ako. Tumingin lang. Kaya tumingin lang, no? Oo, sakit na yung baril. Kaya si Kema, baksak na. Hawak ko na yung baril, no? Nilabas yun, eh. Dala ni Pipi, oh. Oo, yun. Masok siya, hindi dalang baril. Hindi naman kasi si Pipi na tulong, eh, no? May baril pa yun. Oo. May baril siya. Patay ni Pipi.
Halos mapuno ng droga ang lamesa sa conference room ng National Bureau of Investigation nang ipresenta mahigit 500 kilo ng high-grade shabu na na-recover sa Valenzuela City sa drug operation ng NBI Anti-Organized and Transnational Crime Division at Bureau of Customs noong Biyernes. Inabot na ilang oras bago nabuksan ang cylinder na bakal na balot na makapal na kulay itim na goma. Idiniklara itong roller ball na ginagamit sa mga printing shop. Pero na mabuksan, daan-daang kilo na shabu na diskubre ng mga ahente na nakasiksik sa loob ng 5 kapsulang bakal. Itinimbre ng Chinese Customs sa Bureau of Customs ang mga iligal na kargamento na pinuslit sa bansa.
Our country will just go to the dogs.
Bumutang ngayon ang isang perfecto Tagalog para idawit ang anak ni Mayor Duterte na si Paulo, asawa niyang si January at media officer ni Duterte na si dating NFA Administrator Lito Banayo sa smuggling sa Davao. Ang kasabwat daw nila ang umano'y smuggler na si Davidson Bangayan o David Tan.
Dahil ang mismong anak nito na si Paulo Duterte na mas kilala sa katawang Polo at asawang nitong si January na siya ngayon ABC President sa Davao, ang siyang kinikilalang Lord ng mga smuggler sa Davao City na may tara sa bawat container dito.
Basihan ni Tagalog ang umano'y intelligence reports mula sa Presidential Anti-Smuggling Group at NBI noong 2007. Ayon sa mga umano'y report ng TASG at NBI, dawit si Paulo Duterte sa smuggling ng mamahaling sasakyan, ukay-ukay, bigas at asukal sa Davao. Giit pa ni Tagalog, si Banayo umano ang taga-areglo nila.
Lumalabas ang chief political strategist ni Duterte na si Lito Banayo na nasasangkot sa mga anomalya sa NFA na dating pinamunuan nito ang siyang taga-areglo sa relasyon Duterte at David Tan.
Pero bigo si Tagalog na magbigay ng detalye at ebidensya para patunayan ang mga bintang niya.
Humihingi po ako sa inyo ng paumanhin dahil ilalabas din po namin ito pag kami po ay magsampa na ng kaso.
Giit niya wala siyang kinakampihang politiko.
Ako po ay kasapi ng BACC.
Never ka naming member.
Nagpakilala siyang miyembro ng BACC pero itinanggi siya ng isang opisyal ng grupo na dumalo sa okasyon. Itinanggi naman ng tagapagsalita ni Duterte ang mga akusasyon. Para kay Christopher Bongo, Executive Assistant ni Duterte, walang basehan ang mga akusasyon. RG Cruz, ABS-CBN News.
Wala pong pronouncement ang gobyerno na may pattern dito.
Naniniwala po ba kayo na nanlaban yung karamihan sa mga pinatay ng pulis?
Honestly speaking, I'm very sorry. I beg to disagree.
Hindi po kayo naniniwala na nanlaban yung karamihan?
Yes, karamihan. I beg to disagree. Because when I monitor the different victims of deaths, that mother crying, sabi niya, itong anak ko na ito, napakabuti naman ito. Yung kapatid niya, nagpo-post ng drug, pinapayuhan itong kapatid niya na nagtatrabaho sa Makati. Huwag mo, tigil mo na yung hanap buhay mo na yan, ipambayad sa apartment, di ka kumikita dyan pinatay pareho. Nadamay yung matinong kapatid. Sa Antipolo, mayroong isang pastor, nilinis lang yung kanyang church. Naka-motorcycle. Dumaan, nadaanan niya yung tokhang operation. Kasunod niya yung kanyang anak na naka-motorcycle din. Pagkatapos, ang report sa akin ng dalawang pastor, no? Dumaan siya rin sa barangay na may tokhang operation. Inumangan siya ng baril. Wag po, pastor po ako. Bang, 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 bang. In-ignored siya. Patay. Yun namang anak niya, hindi alam na tatay niya yung pinatay. Dire-diretso siya. Pagkatapos, siguro, kinausap ng Holy Spirit, bumalik siya, tinignan niya kung sino yung pinagkakagulo ng tao. Kita niya, tatay niya. At ang usapan ng mga tao, napagkamalan.
Alam niyo, masakit talaga ito nangyayari sa Pilipinas. Kasi kami, nakalublob kami sa salita ng Diyos eh. Sinabi ng Bible, ang isang bansa na naging killing fields, rampant ang bloodbath, ang bansang yun, katakot-takot na sumpa, calamities and disasters ang darating. Ezekiel chapter 22 and other verses in the Bible. Kaya ako naniniwala may pag-asa pa ang ating bansa. Pero, ang pakiusap sana namin, sana ang Pangulo kastiguhin niya. Huwag niyang itolerate yung mga policemen na pumatay ng pumatay just to get rewards and promotions.
Well, nakikinig naman yung mga NPA, nasa pwesto pa naman kayo. Saan ka nakakita dito ng gobyerno? And they are getting the carabaos and the pigs and the chickens and the eggs. Ano kaya yung korte nito, ang korte ninyo na, I don't know if it's a kangaroo or otherwise, pagpatay na lang ninyo para mas madali ang
galit sa akin nitong kasalukuyang administrasyon ni Pangulong
solusyon ng problema
natin. Hindi
natin.
lamang dito sa impeachment.
Anyway, kung maenkwentro ninyo yan, it's always a crime,
kundi sa buong
crime
sambayan ng
committed in
Pilipino
your
na
presence.
pinangakuan ko
You do
na
not shoot
ako'y
anybody
magpapaliwanag.
just because you see them walking. What I know, you have this validation. Kung yun dyan sa bukid, tatapusin na ninyo yan. Mas mabuti, wala na rin kayong ginagawa. There's a slowdown in the fighting. Why should we be fighting? When as a matter of fact, I'm just awaiting for the arrival of season to talk to him. And maybe, just maybe, in the fullness of God's time, we can have peace amongst us.
I will follow the pattern of socialism sa government.
Samanthaluyang naman tinumba ang isang dating chief prosecutor. Sinisilip na kung may kinalaman dito sa pag-aabogado niya umano sa mga kabarangay na nasasangkot sa droga. Saksi si Emil Sumangil.
Ilang metro lang mula sa kanyang bahay sa Mandaluyong, tinambangan alas 9 ng umaga kahapon si dating Mandaluyong Chief Prosecutor Pablito Gahol. Galing daw siya noon sa samba nang tabihan ng dalawang magkaangkas sa motorsiklo ang kanyang sasakyan. Binaril siya habang nagmemenor sa hump. 10 tama ng bala pumatay sa 77 si Gahol na kasama noon sa sasakyan ang kanyang misis at anak na menor de edad.
Nagulat ako bigla kung nakita dito sa side niya. Ano na, dalawang tao nakasakay sa motosiklo, balag-balag na ng baril. Hanggang sa mawasak na yung window. Ay, alam niyo, hindi ko na tinignan nung pumikit na akong gano'n. Sabi ko, patay na kami. Kasi tinurong malikod na ako. Akala ko patay na ako eh. Pero wala naman ako naramdaman.
Sabi naman ng ilang saksi, may 5 iba pang kasama ang dalawang gunmen. Inaalam ng pulisya kung may kaugnayan sa krimen ang mga dating trabaho ni Gahol na naging NBI agent, barangay captain at city councilor. Gayun din ang pagiging tagapagtanggol umano niya sa mga kabarangay na involved sa illegal drugs.
Naglo-lawyering dun sa mga involved sa drugs, pero subject for confirmation pa rin yan, no?
Pinutulungan po niya kasi marami po ditong mahihirap na may kaso. Siguro hindi ko alam baka yun nakaka-trigger dun na patayin siya dahil tinutulungan niya yung mga taong mahihirap. Sabi ko, is that justifiable?
Pinatay si Gahol 3 araw matapos makatanggap ng text na nagsasabing, Piskal, ikaw na ang kasunod, mag-ingat ka. Ako si Emil Sumangil, ang inyong saksi.
I will follow the pattern of socialism sa government.
And the Americans created the troubles of our country. I would like to be all criminals. They planted evidence. Hitler massacred 3 million Jews. Now, there's a 3 million drug addicts. There are. I'd be happy to slaughter them.
Hitler was the perpetrator of the worst, largest mass murder of people in history. For someone to want to identify themselves with a person who was responsible for intending to wipe out an entire people, for engaging in genocide, is simply inexplicable.
I'm Chinese.
Well, they're outrageous comments. They show either a high level of ignorance or a disdain for history, or both.
I will revolt from the inside.
I do not carry the burden of sovereignty on my shoulders.
Hi there, welcome to Dialogue. I'm Yang.
Our country will just go to the dogs in a few years.
But the Philippines is a democracy.
Our country will just go to the dogs.
Duterte, maluwag yung bunga niya. Sabi na, yung kapag akong presidente, isang paa ng NPA nasa bunga.
Why all of a sudden the position of the Philippines have changed? How sincere is this China policy?
Maybe because I'm Chinese and I believe in sincerity. So I believe in the basic fundamental issue of a human sincerity. Going back now to the relations with other countries, one is that we have always been tied, even in matters of armaments and weaponry, with the United States. We should not be too constrained to follow the dictates of any other country. But historically, we do not import, we do not buy arms from any other country without looking even at the cost. Whether it is more expensive,
it is the strength of the military that is vital in the defeat of the NPA. Pag hindi malakas yung militar, ay paano naman magkaroon ng lakas ng loob ang mamamayan para suportahan ng gobyerno o makiisa sa gobyerno dahil pinapatay din sila ng NPA. So in the end, it is the military that should be strengthened and supported by the whole government machinery as the principal force to go against the NPA. Pero nung dumating yung Korea administration, biglang lumakas yung NPA dahil pinalakas ng gobyerno, di ba? In the panel analysis,
Duterte, maluwag yung bunga niya. Sabi na, yung kapag akong presidente, isang paa ng NPA nasa bunga.
Flick of the finger, you want to assemble men. Their computers, our armaments, are simply not compatible. So what's the use? So what's the use of going into this useless exercise when after all, there are three of us against the world. China, Philippines, and Russia.
Ready for coalition.
So what's the use of going into this useless exercise when after all,
we are the neighbors next door?
Yes.
And they are far away.
Far away.
Across the
Thousands
ocean.
of miles away.
Across the ocean.
Yes. There are three of us against the world. China, Philippines, and Russia. And I said, so you do not constrain, you do not restrain me from doing business. I will not go to war. In China, maybe we cannot be delivered to you one year from now. So what's the point? Talking of war and violence. So why should we be afraid?
Ready for coalition.
There are three of us against the world. China, Philippines. Talking of war and violence, and the basic question of our relationship with America and with China, for that matter. So why should we be afraid? There are three of us against the world. China, Philippines. I will not go to war.
Ready for coalition.
During exercises, military exercises, going into this useless exercise, I'm Chinese. I believe in sincerity.
It's showing that it doesn't care, but if the entire world will tell China it is wrong, it will have to care.
Carpio says, at some point, something's got to give.
Well,
Please defend our sovereignty, on legal way at the United Nations. Don't act like a barbaric tyrant Fujian Chinese in the Philippines.
So why I'm now? Well, anyway.
Well, they're outrageous comments. They show either a high level of ignorance or a disdain for history, or both.
Why should we stick with a certain country?
So my understanding, am I right to understand this is kind of quite a pragmatic approach?
Well, yes, because that's the only way to move forward nowadays. I do not think that there's going to be another Cold War. There are three of us against the world. China, Philippines, and Russia.
At dito makikita niyo po ang pagbabago sa ilalim ng Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte at isa lamang ito. At marami pa kayong makikitang changes sa darating ng mga panahon. Ngayon, follow me.
Tell me, because we can have the diplomatic channel cut tomorrow. You leave my country in 24 hours. All of you. You must have taken the Filipino for granted, saying that we could be excluded. Is it your decision? You really think that you can do it? You have to pass by the Security Council. If one of the members would say, let us talk about this, would you think Russia and China would allow it? Your Honors, in this venue, I announce my separation from the United States.
Well, they're outrageous.
The Americans
they show either a high level of ignorance or a disdain for history,
of our country.
After 48 years of American sovereignty, the people of the Philippines assume the status of an independent nation.
America has lost me. I'm Chinese. And will I realign myself in your ideological flow? That is the reason why.
The transfer is made on the 4th of July, a day full of significance for these Yankees.
Ang lolo ko, Chinese. I'm Chinese. I will also go to Russia to talk to Putin and tell him that there are three of us against the world. China, Philippines, and Russia.
Ready for coalition.
Sir, did you bring up the issue of
It's the only way.
Filipinos fishing rights in the Scarborough show with President Xi Jinping? And was there any assurance?
There are three of us against the world.
That they
China, Philippines, and Russia.
Huge crowds jam Manila to watch the birth of the Republic, which regains its independence through the voluntary action of the American people. In a message, President Truman assured our continued support.
Napag-usapan namin, pero no. Leave it to them to...
The new nation looks forward to prosperity.
It's one of the things they said
Exceedingly poor after Japanese
in the
occupation,
private talks
the Philippines will receive reparations and free trade concessions from the
Let us
United
see what
States.
develops in the days to come. Sabihin niya, well, there are many Filipinos there. Ay, wala na yun. Puro Amerikano na yun. Ugali doon, pagkain na yun. So, why am now? Well, anyway.
Well, they're outrageous comments. They show either a high level of ignorance or a disdain for history, or both.
Akala kasi ng mga buang kalaban ko, hindi na alam siguro from where of I stand. I'm Chinese, from Xiamen. I belong to the left. Hindi mo ako maloko sa buhay. Ang lolo ko, Chinese, from Xiamen. I belong to the left. Ikaw ang laruan ko doon sa... Because we have kept our country in eternal poverty. I'm Chinese.
Katwiran namin mga magsasaka. anak ng mga mahihirap.
Alam mo, I take the posture of a radical. Sinasadya ko talaga yung bunga. I'm testing the elite. Because in this country, if you would notice, historically, there are about only few guys, the billionaires here, the elite, in Manila, the Imperial Manila, to choose the president for us. Why are you insisting on me? Kasi namimili, and those elected really take care of the elite. Bakit ako tumakbo? I was ready to retire. Bakit ako tumakbo? I was ready to retire. And I gave you 3 reasons. And I said, I have a very serious in the family. The billionaires here, the PDP guys, as a gobyerno, partisan group, the elite.
His coming with at least 200 members of business elite way for what he calls a new commercial alliance.
Those
to pave the way for what he calls
really
a new commercial alliance.
The elite, the billionaires here, the PDP guys, the family, the elite. At ito namang nasa gobyerno, those elected, the elite. They have to steal. They have to make money to sustain their partisan group, the elite in a society. Kaya ganun, kung bakit magtanong, bakit ba dito? Sa Pilipinas, patayan. In other nations, some vote, some don't, and no big deal. Yung iba naman pumapalag. We planted evidence. We said that it was this fellow who really did it. That is the reason why. Because we have kept our country in eternal poverty. Maliliman lang yan. And this elite, you know, they want to chart the history of our country in their eyes, in their minds.
It's obvious that the country has been targeted by organized crime groups.
I'm Chinese. From Xiamen. So I have a line in my family na puro muro.
Ready for coalition.
We will not allow anybody, not even the United States, to dictate on us. And I will tell it straight during the November in the ASEAN. Bubuga ko lahat talaga sa... Akala mo dali You're the ones, you're the last vestiges of imperialism in this part of the world. You idiots came to our lands, Indonesia, Malaysia. That's for Indonesia, Malaysia, for the British and the Philippines, for the Americans and Spaniards. And you have the gall to say to us, we will expel you. Son of a bitch. My language is horrible. No, that is part of our grammar here. Why? Because we are angry at you for colonizing and stealing our resources for so many hundreds of years. Gago pala kayo eh. Kayong mga... When you left my country after 400 years, you brought home the best of everything in this country. Tapos ganunin ninyo ako? Mayroon sa kanila. And United States would, your funding Rappler said, and all of these Go ahead and fund more. So that we can always transfer. There's always China and Russia. What should we worry? You keep on funding those. Soros is funding human rights watch. So you think that you are the conscience of the people, that you are the right ones because you are the white? Excuse me, are we talking of a monkey here or? Kung magsalita kayo, akala na. Well, maybe the other president. But, yeah, CIA stop fucking. One day, I will just drive you away. It's either your cahots here will have to kill me or you have to get out of my country. Choose. Basta ako sabihin ko sa Pilipino, pag namatay ako, Amerika na yan. CIA na yan. Pag may mga bagong barko dyan na maganda na Chinese character, kaibigan natin yan, China yan. Kung yung parang drawing na hindi mo maintindihan yung Russian yan. Mag-salot yan, pag mag-salot yan sa atin, ganon. Amerikano, huwag yan. Yan, mga Russian yan. Bakit idol ko sila? Kasi marunong sila magrespeto. Kayong mga putang ina kayo, kala sino. Go ahead. That is my inaugural speech to
why we have kept our country in eternal poverty. Why I will revolt from the inside.
Matagal ko ng ambisyon niya na maging hero rin ako.
Sa Kongreso, walang nagsusulong ng batas na kikilala kay Rizal bilang pambansang bayani.
Siyempre, hindi ito as concerning, diba? As all the other issues that we're facing to date. Pero I think Congress should provide some time to really think about history and put particular persons in the proper recognition that they deserve.
Pero para sa ilang eksperto, hindi na kailangan ng batas para iproklama pang bayani si Jose Rizal.
Mas delikado nga kung pinasabatas natin ang mga bayani natin, ang mga congressman, at sa may tapat sila na bilang, ay makapaggawa ng batas ng isang hindi karapat-dapat sa tawaging bayani ay gawing bayani. Ng isang hindi karapat-dapat sa tawaging bayani ay gawing bayani.
Did you hear? How media, politics, and education system nowadays are twisting the Philippine history. They honor Aquino and Duterte, Fujian Amoy-Moro tribe, as their partisan political national hero, while rejecting Dr. Jose P. Rizal, as the native Philippine national hero?
Noong 2015, pinagbigyan ng Korte Suprema ang grupo ng mga guro sa kanilang apela na huwag ituloy ang nais ng CHED na pagtanggal sa Filipino at panitikan subject sa kolehiyo. Naglabas ng Temporary Restraining Order ang SC para mapanatili ang Filipino at panitikan subjects sa general curriculum sa kolehiyo kasama ang iba pang asignatura gaya ng Math, Science and Technology at maging Philippine History. Ang Filipino ay nakatuon sa paggamit ng wikang Filipino, habang ang panitikan ay nakatuon sa pagbabasa at literatura.
Ang Filipino at panitikan ay baluarte ng malayong pag-iisip.
Problema na bawat Pilipino ay nakakalimutan natin ang ating mother tongue, which is Filipino.
Paano natin masasabi na globally competitive tayo mga Filipino, kaming mga students, kung hindi natin kayang gamitin ng maayos ang ating wikang pambansa?
Sigat Jose Rizal, nooy nagwika, siya ay nagpangaral.
And the Americans created the troubles of our country.
Walang masama sa left and I belong to the left.
And this elite
sa Kongreso.
And this elite
sa Kongreso.
You know, they want to chart the history of our country in their eyes, in their mind. Pag
His coming with at least 200 members of business elite.
Dito tayo, ha?
Sabi niya, the Liberal Party and the Nationalista Party are like two sides of the same coin. They are both parties of the elite. They are both parties of the ruling class, our enemy class. So kung pag-awayin natin to, it will benefit the revolution as a whole. Supposing may mangyaring incident sa isang
to the first world. One woman has risked everything to shed light on this truth. Her name is Karen Hudes. She's exposed information that reveals the extent of the collusion between financial groups and foreign governments. She was senior counsel at the World Bank for 12 years before blowing the whistle. Karen Hudes, thank you so much for coming on, Karen. Thanks for having me. So could you please explain what the impetus was for you to speak out? What did you see? I was a lawyer and I saw securities fraud. I saw financial information that was not being disclosed to $180 billion worth of bondholders. It was my job to make sure that the financial statements were correct.
Because we have kept our country in eternal poverty.
I'm Chinese.
Walang masama sa left.
Nadami ang rebelde.
Did you hear that? He said. He is just a poor man, but it revealed that he is coming with business elite. Who are those elite? They are the ruling class, all Fujian Chinese who has a plan of changing, manufacturing, reconstructing the history of our country, in their eyes, in their mind, so you have to expect more lawlessness in our home country. Changing history means, your land title, your inheritance, your identity on earth as an independent nation will vanish forever. And those changes were already proven. They stolen already the history of Dr. Jose P. Rizal and have already removed our historic or legal title over which the Philippines has sovereignty or jurisdiction.
Nadami ang rebelde. And the greater the repression, the greater will be the resistance.
In another case, I was reporting corruption in the Philippines. $900 million worth of money that should have gone to fight poverty in the Philippines.
The greater the repression
went to a corrupt man, Lucio Tan.
Dadami ang rebelde.
To a corrupt man, Lucio
Tan. At that time, kukunti lang kami, mga siyam na squad lang kami.
Who was in default on his loans.
Tapos ito yung parating yung armas.
Went into default.
Na ilang
libo. There was a run on the bank.
Philippine National 2,200.
Investment company tried to bail out the bank for $500 million, and then the board was lied to.
You're not a member of the ruling elite. It's from Xiamen. Stay out.
Katwiran namin mga magsasaka, anak ng mga mahihirap.
Sa gitna naman ng agawan sa teritoryo, kinikilala sa isang lungsod sa China ang ating bayani na si Dr. Jose Rizal. Si Pepe kabilang sa mga bida sa Celebrity Wall sa Jinjiang City. Yan ang inaksyonan ni Michelle Orosa Ople.
Ang Jinjiang City sa Fujian Province ng China ay isa sa mga tinatawag na economic powerhouse ng China. Parte ng tinatawag na Maritime Silk Road na sentro ng kalakalan. Pero sino mag-aakala na sa gitna ng maunlad na syudad ay binibigyang pugay ang ilang mga Pinoy? Sa Celebrity Wall na nagtatampok ng kasaysayan ng Jinjiang, makikita ang isang mukhang kilalang-kilala ng mga Pinoy, si Dr. Jose Rizal. Dito raw kasi nanggaling ang ninuno ng ating pambansang bayani na si Domingo Lamco o Kay Nan sa Chinese.
I was reporting corruption in the Philippines.
$900 million
worth of money that should have gone to fight poverty in the Philippines instead went to a corrupt man, Lucio Tan. So this is corruption in the entire world. And until it's set straight, what we're going to have is we're going to have a currency war.
Ayon sa lokal na pamahalaan, sa mahigit 1 milyong Chinese na nasa Pilipinas ngayon, karamihan ay may ancestral roots sa Jinjiang. Kasama na rito ang ilang business tycoon kagaya ni Lucio Tan at Henry C. Proud ang mga taga Jinjiang sa kontribusyon ng mga Chinese Filipino hindi lang sa ekonomiya ng Pilipinas, kundi pati na rin sa paglago ng ekonomiya ng Jinjiang.
You're not a member of the ruling elite. Stay out.
I'm Chinese.
From Xiamen. Ang lolo ko, Chinese. From Xiamen.
Well, they're outrageous comments. They show either a high level of ignorance or a disdain for history, or both.
Why am now? Ang lolo ko, Chinese. From Xiamen. If I make it, I will be the first left president in this country. I belong to the left. And that's the reason why I raise my fist, because I am a member of Bayan. I am not a member of the Communist Party. I do not agree. They're too far left. I do not agree with the armed struggle and killing of Filipinos. I belong to the left. Walang masama sa left, and I belong to the left. You're not a member of the ruling elite. From Xiamen. Stay out. Ako wala akong partido, but I choose PDP. Because PDP is actually left-leaning. As a matter of fact, the PDP guys take their oath of office with the left hand and shake with the left hand. Ganon ang ni Pimentel. Pimentel is parang ganon rin, but not so. Kami yung sumunod mga radical. I started with Bayan. And I did well.
I'm Chinese.
Walang masama sa left. From Xiamen.
Ako po si Mr. Rio.
Ang lolo ko, Chinese. The billionaires here, the family, the elite. From Xiamen.
From Xiamen, China. So, nagsisinungaling ka.
Roa Duterte.
Thank you. Kindly sit down.
These images show what used to be Fiery Cross Reef or Kagitingan Reef to Filipinos. But China has dumped 2.7 million square meters of sand,
to be here
turning it into
among
you now see.
in my introductory visit to Japan.
About 8 months later,
I do not carry the burden of sovereignty on my shoulders.
Forward to July 2015,
I want to be friend to China.
A closer
I do
look
not
at the
need the
cement plant
arms.
at the greenhouse.
I do not
buildings that
want
can house
missiles
armaments,
established in my
a harbor large
country.
enough for warships.
I do not
a
need
3-kilometer
to have the
airstrip
airports
long enough for any
to
kind
host
of
the
aircraft.
bombers
The
with
Chinese
hydrogen bomb.
website Sina has released
Because
pictures
if you really
were taken on
would
the new
want war
installation
for
on
this
Fiery
planet,
Cross Reef. Beijing
and
says
everybody
these are meant
is
to help ensure
drawn
safety
into
and
the
freedom
vortex of
navigation
violence.
in the West Philippine Sea.
Iran,
Experts say
Pakistan,
the Fiery Cross structure
India,
can help Beijing increase
France,
maritime
Britain,
patrols
Russia,
and
America,
establish
China.
an air defense identification zone in the disputed area.
So I mentioned
called
India
it
and Pakistan.
China's unsinkable aircraft carrier.
There will be no more
In other words,
talk
it
of
would
the
enable
Third
China
World
to
War.
claim ownership even of the
Even
air
before
above the
you
West
finish the
Philippine Sea.
sentence,
In May
we would be all
2015,
gone.
the Chinese shooed away a U.S.
So,
Navy plane
those things
as it
I
flew
do not
near
need.
Fiery Cross Reef.
I just
The
want
voice of the
friendship
radio
with
said
everybody.
The plane was entering
Go there,
China's
but do not
airspace.
expect so much expectations from maybe the policies of the West.
Fiery Cross
There are
Reef
three
lies
of us
255
against the world.
nautical miles
I will not go to war. China, Philippines, and Russia.
but within its extended continental shelf.
It's the only way. So I have a line in my family na puro muro.
Ready for coalition.
Our country will just go to the dogs.
I am a dog.
The dogs.
Believe in sincerity.
Kasi sabi ko, what do you want me to do? Shoot the moro or shoot the picture? Sabi ko, what do you want me to do? Shoot the Moro or shoot the Christian? Shoot the Moro or
Not the
shoot
Christian, please. Shoot the Fujian Moro tribe. Now. The Amoy-Xiamen Moro should be shooted by Duterte.
Hi there, welcome to Dialogue. I'm Yang Ray. Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte is in China on a state visit that could upend relations in the region and possibly throw a security challenge to Japan, which he is due to visit next. The visit promises to end years of estrangement between Beijing and Manila, but elevating China as a security partner at the expense of ties with Washington could also weaken the security relationship Japan relies on. So what positive outcomes can we expect from this visit, and what will be the ripple effects it will cause throughout the region? To answer these and other questions, joining me in the first half of the program is Martin Andana, President Duterte's communications officer. Let's look at this.
Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte called his trip to China this week a turning point in bilateral ties.
Well, in one word, I would say it's a defining moment of my presidency to open frontiers of friendship and cooperation, enhancement when old relationship between our two countries.
What I want to say is that China also attaches great importance to this visit. We are ready to show our friendship to the Philippine people. We also will reach out for cooperation. We believe President Duterte's visit will be successful. It will not only restore our bilateral relationship, but also create a better future for collaboration.
Based on the makeup of his delegation, it seems like economic cooperation is on top of his agenda. He's coming with at least 200 members of business elite to pave the way for what he calls a new commercial alliance. Among the areas expected to be of high priority are financing for Philippine businesses, farm exports, major infrastructure investment, and tourism. China is the Philippines' important export destination.
Maybe I can sign a treaty somewhere. Partnerships in the enhancement of the agriculture. Now, if it is if valid in your heart to give it to us also, I will be thankful. The only hope of the Philippines economically, I'll be frank with you, is China.
Kailangan magkaroon ng land reform. Kailangan may sakatuparan ng land reform.
So, why am now? Well, anyway.
China as a security partner. China as a security partner.
Our country will just go to the dogs in a few years.
But the Philippines is a democracy.
Our country will just go to the dogs.
China as a security partner.
I have declared that I will pursue an independent foreign
going
policy.
into this useless exercise, we
I want,
we are the neighbors next door.
maybe in the next 2 years,
far away.
my country
Across the ocean.
freed
And
of the presence
so you do not
of
constrain
foreign military
business
troops.
China. Maybe
I want them
cannot
out.
put
And if I have to
conflict to be
revise or abrogate
their computer,
agreements,
our armaments,
executive
are simply
agreements,
not
I will.
So
This will be the last maneuver,
So what's the use
war
of
games between the
going
United
into this
States
useless exercise when after
and
all
the Philippines.
there are
military.
two of us against the world. China,
Then,
Philippines, and Russia.
in the fullness of God's time, I am president for 6 years. No more.
Ang lolo ko, Chinese, from Xiamen. I'm Chinese. From Xiamen. Ang lolo ko, Chinese, from Xiamen. So I have a line in my family na puro muro. From Xiamen. And the Americans created the troubles of our country.
Pero nung dumating yung Korea administration, biglang lumakas yung NPA. Dahil pinalakas na ng gobyerno, di ba?
Wala pong pronouncement ang gobyerno na may pattern dito.
Then a revolution of some kind happens or is needed.
Do you believe that our Philippine national hero is a real scientist and a doctor? And he believed that the Hebrew scriptures borrowed by all the religious kingdom of God's children of this world is true? If he knew the Hebrew scripture, of course he would be able to discover about knowledge in astronomy, the light, time, speed, and distance. And for sure he is not a kind of mythologist from a foreign country. Dr. Jose P. Rizal patterned his ULTIMO ADIOS writings from the Hebrew Bible. Because he compared the slavery of the wisdom of the Filipino in our fatherland to a kind of the lost geography of the children of our Father in heaven on earth. Why Dr. Jose P. Rizal called the Philippine archipelago as the Jewel tribes of the Pearl of the Orient of the Sea from the Eastern Hemisphere. This is for us to locate in the future that the mentioned sea in his parable or poem is talking not about the sea south of China but the sea of the Western Pacific in the Eastern Hemisphere. So that China or other foreign tribes of nations in the future will not be able to take our inherited territories as their inheritance. Because our world of living has already been stolen by the Fujian Amoy-Moro tribes of mythologists from China northwest of the Eden lost. Like the Judah of the Kingdom of Israel, our identity has been replaced by the Kingdom of Spain under the Fujian Chinese ruling class. Today 2017, after 183 years since the foundation of San Miguel Sino-Spanish conglomerate company, the history of the Philippines is vanishing in the memory of our ancestors' children at the hands of these foreigners because they are fabricating historic lies just by using the power of the children of God's temple or the 1986 EDSA Chinese Crusaders. Why our national hero wrote the ULTIMO ADIOS? Because he knew that in our future generations, the expansionism of the Sino-Roman imperial ruling class who form our first illegal government and fake society will replace the historical and legal title of our ancestral inheritance to our country by mythology. The same exactly as what happened to Jerusalem of the Kingdom of Israel more than 2017 years ago. This is to avoid these two superpower to annex our nation as their province.
Jerusalem, a historical journey through archaeology and art. Jerusalem, a mosaic of different peoples, faiths, and nationalities. Nevertheless, despite this diversity, under the sovereignty of Israel, Jerusalem is a city that works. But has it always been this way? The first historical mention of Jerusalem is in the Bible, in the era of the patriarchs. King David declares Jerusalem as Israel's capital, known from that point on also as Zion. His son King Solomon builds the first temple. But the temple is destroyed by the Babylonians, and the Jews are exiled. King Cyrus's declaration enables the Jews to return and rebuild the temple. Alexander the Great's conquests include Jerusalem. However, his successors desecrate the temple. Maccabees' revolt against the Greeks' imposition of Hellenism. The Roman Empire seizes control, and King Herod renovates the temple. A large-scale revolt against a corrupt and vicious Roman reign fails. The Second Temple is destroyed, and the Jews are banned from Jerusalem. 60 years pass, and Bar Kokhba leads another revolt for the freedom of Jerusalem. But it fails after 3 years of battle. Jews are banned from the city, renamed by the Romans Aelia Capitolina, in order to eradicate its Jewish heritage. Roman Emperor Constantine converts to Christianity and reinforces the ban on Jews entering Jerusalem. A new religion, Islam, sweeps through the Middle East. Non-Muslims are declared second-class citizens. Crusaders conquer Jerusalem in a bloodbath of Jews and Muslims. 2,000 Jews are burnt alive in the main synagogue, and the city is depopulated of its previous inhabitants. The first organized mass Jewish return arrives from France and England. The Mamluks defeat the Christian kingdom of Jerusalem, and building and renovating of synagogues and churches is banned. The great Mishnai commentator Rabbi Ovadia Bartanura settles in Jerusalem. The Ottoman Empire takes over, imposing restrictions on Jews and Christians, and Sultan Suleiman rebuilds the walls. But as the empire declines, Jerusalem is badly neglected. Still, the Jewish people stream back, build new neighborhoods, and re-establish their majority by 1863. World War I breaks out. The Ottoman Empire collapses and makes room for a new Middle East. The British Foreign Secretary, Arthur James Balfour, declares the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people. Britain receives a mandate to create a Jewish homeland, but forbids Jews from blowing the shofar or reading holy scrolls at the Western Wall. Thousands of Muslims are incited to unleash an attack against Jews in Jerusalem and Hebron. 86 Jews are brutally murdered, hundreds are wounded. UN Resolution 181 declares Jerusalem as a corpus separatum, a separate entity. A Jewish state is declared as Jerusalem is put under siege, conquered, and divided. 58 synagogues are destroyed or desecrated. Harsh limitations are imposed on Jews and Christians for 19 years. The Six-Day War. Jerusalem is reunited and freedom and equality are restored. Throughout history, only Israel has protected the freedom of all peoples and faiths in Jerusalem.
The Philippines was administered 330 years by Mexico. So we say that the Philippine history is 300 years of the Catholic Church, 60 years of Hollywood, and then we took over.
So you had the Catholic Church, you had Hollywood, and then you took over. So did Hollywood cause you to sin more, and the Catholic Church to forgive more? How did you end up in the end?
Well, we're work in progress.
Sounds like my country.
We pray a lot, but somehow we curse a lot too. So let's see how that goes.
There's no swearing in Australia. Now let me see.
Work in progress.
Further question.
since the Cory administration, lumakas ang NPA. Kasi yung panahon ni Marcos, malapit na kami bumagsak noon eh. It was only the Cordillera Group that saved the situation. Pero nung dumating yung Cory administration, biglang lumakas yung NPA. Dahil pinalakas nga ng gobyerno, di ba? In the final analysis, mas marami ang pinatay ng NPA na mahirap na mamayan kaysa yung napatay ng mga AFP noon. Ang napapalabas parang ang AFP ang nagkakamali. Pero if you look at the data, mas maraming pinatay ng NPA. Even missionaries, priests, in the Cordilleras, si Father Leo, an old missionary, they just liquidated him and inilibing nila na hindi na namin alam kung nasaan si Father Leo. Yung mga Protestant pastors, yung mga tribal leaders na ang dami nilang pinatay, maski yung mga liquidation sa mga bata. Ay, ang dami. If you put together how many were killed by the NPAs in the Cordillera, is not even 50% of what was in the meantime killed in, sa crossfire by the AFP. Ay, paano naman magkaroon ng lakas ng loob ang mamamayan para suportahan ng gobyerno o makiisa sa gobyerno dahil pinapatay din sila ng NPA. So in the end, it is the military that should be strengthened and supported by the whole government machinery as the principal force to go against the NPA.
There are so many criminal minds even in the Liberal Party. Sila the record of plunder and also killing. You make a comparison. Yung sa kanila, yung killing zone, well, hindi ko lang bali because it's not, wala, police takot, wala. And even the drugs, they're all silent. So when I became president, sinabi ko sa Pilipino, this is how widespread the drug is. Wala man silang, bakit ba yung 5 pinatay doon sa Bulacan? Na pati yung 1-year-old na bata, pinikay alamat, pinatay? Well, what is that? Why don't I do not hear her crying or even complaining that the police are not doing enough. Tapos, they pick up election politika. And they're crazily into it. Why is it that there's so much killing during political exercises? Why do you think people kill the guys on the other side? That is the reason why. Why? I give you 3 reasons. We have kept our country in eternal poverty.
Ako'y isang Pinoy sa puso diwa.
Akala kasi ng mga buang kalaban ko, hindi na alam siguro from where of I stand. I'm Chinese, FRAGMENTS. I belong to the left. Hindi mo ako maloko sa buhay. Ang lolo ko, Chinese, FRAGMENTS. I belong to the left. Ito ang laruan ko doon sa...
There were a lot of winners, but there were also a lot of losers, and the inequality around the world continues. You know, I think that's one of our greatest challenges in the Philippines, the inequality.
Sabihin ko sa mga tao, mag-taste tayo. Pobre tayo. Kailangan ito ng aid. Pero kung ganun lang naman, tuturuan ka kung paano gawin. Yun ang ako, wag na. Total, mabubuhay din naman tayo. And we cannot be forever depending on aid. So it's very stupid of some public officials to talk of aid as if it is a matter of survival of our country if we do not accept it.
One thing Filipinos love to do is to talk to cab drivers in Singapore because they know everything. Aside from the barbers, the cab drivers in Singapore. So, we talked to them about the economy and they said, give us an island. We'll take care of it. We'll make it rich. You just choose what island in the Philippines you want us to have. So
Mindanao.
Because we have kept our country in eternal poverty.
Ang Chinese.
Katwiran namin, mga magsasaka. Anak ng mga mahihirap.
When you lie, you put another lie to cover this lie. Then to cover this lie, you put another lie. To cover this lie, patong-patong na yan. Pag kinunan mo ng isa lang bubagsak yan.
Why we have kept our country in eternal poverty? Why?
I will revolt from the inside. Matagal ko ng ambisyon niya na maging hero rin ako.
Why all of a sudden the position of the Philippines have changed? How sincere is this China policy?
Maybe because I'm Chinese and I believe in sincerity.
That is the reason why.
I am Paulo Duterte. I am Pinoy proud ako.
Our country will just go to the dogs in a few years.
But the Philippines is a democracy.
China as a security partner.
I have declared that I will pursue
So
an
what's the use of,
independent foreign
going
policy.
into this useless exercise when after
I want, maybe in the next 2
I am
years,
Paulo Duterte. I am Pinoy
my
proud ako.
country
Across the ocean.
freed
and
of
I
the
said,
presence
so you do not
of
constrain
foreign military
business in
troops.
China. Maybe
I want them
we cannot
out.
put
And if I have to
conflict to be figured
revise
out
or abrogate
their computer,
agreements,
our armaments
executive
are simply
agreements,
not
I will.
compatible. So
This will be the last maneuver,
So what's the use
war
of
games between the
going
United
into this
States
useless exercise when after
and
all
the Philippines.
There are three of us against the world. China, Philippines, and Russia.
In the fullness of God's time, I am president for 6 years. No more.
Kaya mga kaibigan, ako po ay naniniwala na sagrado ang boto ng bawat Pilipino. Kaya po tayo ay lumaban. At ang kwento po ng tagumpay, ang gusto ko gawing kwento ng bawat Pilipino. Lalo na ang ating mga kababayan na nakaranas ng bayaan, pangapi, pang-aabuso, at kawalan ng hustisya. Paano po? Ano ang solusyon? Use your kokote. Dito po tayo sa Team Pinoy. Kasi po ang Team Pinoy, ito po ang naniniwala na bawal ang dayaan sa tuwid na daan. Kasi po ang Team Pinoy, ito po ang naniniwala na bawal ang dayaan sa tuwid na daan. Kasi po ang Team Pinoy, ito po ang naniniwala na bawal ang dayaan sa tuwid na daan. So mga kaibigan,
Our country will just go to the dogs in a few years.
But the Philippines is a democracy.
Our country will just go to the dogs. Our country will just go to the dogs. I was being told about an amazing speech by Senator Benigno Aquino and talked about the Moro Rebellion in the 1980s, and if there is one president that both Christians and Muslims trust in Mindanao, it's President Duterte. So if we do have a chance for peace, it's actually during his term. It's actually now. It simply seeks to give us an independent foreign policy where we can stand on our own 2 feet and tell our oldest ally and our oldest friend, with the shared values of Judeo-Christian values, the values for democracy, our almost lust for justice and freedom. It is simply telling our big brother, America, as we seek order, we have to seek peace. That is why one of the focuses of the Duterte administration is peace with everybody. So they have true believers. So what was happening is that because of real problems in the South, in the Philippines, poverty, historical injustices,
blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God. We are not saying that the Aquino administration.
Since the Cory administration, lumakas ang NPA. Kasi yung panahon ni Marcos, malapit na kami bumagsak noon eh. It was only the Cordillera Group that saved the situation. Pero nung dumating yung Cory administration, biglang lumakas yung NPA. Dahil pinalakas nga ng gobyerno, di ba? In the final analysis, it is the strength of the military that is vital in the defeat of the NPA. Pag hindi malakas yung militar, ay paano naman magkaroon ng lakas ng loob ang mamamayan para suportahan ng gobyerno o makiisa sa gobyerno dahil pinapatay din sila ng NPA. So in the end, it is the military that should be strengthened and supported by the whole government machinery as the principal force to go against the NPA. Yung sa NPA naman, ang panawagan ko sa kanila, kung makikinig sila sa panawagan, ay mag-aral muna sila at tignan nila kung ang kanilang ang epekto ba ng kanilang paniniwala ay nakapagbibigay ng buhay sa mamamayan o ang daming napatay. Kasi they always blame the government na the government has killed so many people. Mas marami ang pinatay ng NPA na mahirap na mamayan kaysa yung napatay ng mga AFP noon. Ang napapalabas, parang ang AFP ang nagkakamali. Pero if you look at the data, mas maraming pinatay ng NPA. Even missionaries, priests, in the Cordilleras, si Father Leo, an old missionary, they just liquidated him and inilibing nila na hindi na namin alam kung nasaan si Father Leo. Yung mga Protestant pastors, yung mga tribal leaders na ang dami nilang pinatay, maski yung mga liquidation sa mga bata. Ay, ang dami. If you put together how many were killed by the NPAs in the Cordillera, is not even 50% of what was in the meantime killed in sa crossfire by the AFP.
You know, when I proclaimed martial law, I didn't proclaim martial law alone. It is made to appear as if I just signed the decree and said, I impose martial law on each and every one of you. No. I asked the legislature to please pass a law proclaiming martial law because there was anarchy in the country. Now, let me say this, the opposition was strong, and they were members of the Security Council, and somehow they adopted a resolution which required that there be a unanimous vote for the armed forces to be able to move. And therefore the armed forces was immobilized. At the same time, I asked the opposition party to come and join me in a coalition government. I offered one half of the cabinet. And of course they laughed at me and said, why should we join you? We're going to take over the government. By the time you're through with the exercise, you're dead, politically and otherwise. So, and they refused to join me. I asked the advice of the judiciary. I asked the Supreme Court justices, the Court of Appeals justices, and the members of the private sector. And all of them told me there's only one man who can proclaim martial law, and that is the President. And you are it. You are the only one who can proclaim martial law. This is why I must carry this particular mark in our history. I could not have transferred to the legislature. Why? Because the legislature did not have the power. What does the Constitution provide? The President shall be the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, and he may order the armed forces out to quell any disorder, riot, rebellion, invasion, insurrection, and in case of invasion, insurrection, rebellion, or imminent danger thereof, when the public safety requires it, he may suspend the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus or proclaim martial law throughout the Philippines or any part thereof. What does that provision provide? It provides that only the President can proclaim martial law. I repeat, that is why I had to assume responsibility. And I am not one for shirking duty. The people said there was necessity for proclaiming martial law. And the people said, you are the only official who can proclaim martial law. So I proclaim martial law, and I sincerely believe that it was necessary to proclaim martial law to install order and stability because there was complete anarchy throughout the country at the time. Now, therefore, at that particular period, what was the status of our government? Our government was immobilized, impotent. The armed forces could not move out. The industry was not at all in any way moving. There was no income coming into government. Everybody was running away. They burned the U.S. partly burned the U.S. embassy, tried to burn it anyway. They tried to kidnap the American ambassador. American ambassador was Ambassador Byroad. And they tried to kidnap our foreign minister, Romulo, whom you just saw today. And I told him, you better disappear because I will not ransom you. But whatever it is, they burned the Manila International Airport, they bombed the Supreme Court, they bombed the Constitutional Convention, they bombed the City Hall, they burned part of Malacanang Palace, they attempted to kidnap my children, they attempted to kill the President 8 times. There was, of course, an attempted assassination against the First Lady. You all know about that. And this required that I immediately act on it, and so I did. Now, we established land reform. We were fighting a group known as the Hukbalahap, Hukbong Nagpapalaya ng Bayan. It was socialist inclined. It was leftist. But they were friends of mine because we had fought in the Second World War together. And so I approached them and I said, look, I'm going to establish land reform. If you're fighting for land reform, against the feudalistic agrarian system, then you must join me. And they did. I want to introduce to you the leader of that rebellion, who is now present and is a part of the government, Mr. Luis Tarok. He is a member of the National Assembly. One reason why he ran to the hills, according to him, was he was elected as a member of the old legislature and he was not recognized as such. He and the others. Now I want to introduce to you another leader of the Free Farmers Federation, which is also composed of farmers who wanted reform, but who are fighting for reform, but who are now joining in the effort to establish political stability and economic prosperity throughout the country, and who was Dean of the College of Law of the University of Ateneo, but abandoned his deanship in order that he may join in the effort to attain the noble mission of this new society. I refer to National Assemblyman Jerry Montemayor, President of the Federation of Free Farmers of the Philippines. I would like to introduce also to you a young man who was very active against the government in 1972 and who paraded around the streets raising the flag of the Communist Party and organized the Kabataan Makabayan, which is the red organization of the youth. And this man is Nilo Taya. Is he here? Anyway, he is somewhere around here. But they have all joined. All these activists to prove to you that all these stories about our being oppressive against our enemies and our friends, they've all joined the government to help reform and drive out all the corrupt people in the government. We have an ombudsman. We are the only country with an ombudsman. You know what an ombudsman is? He is the officer who watches over the corrupt officials of government, and this man has charged more than 1,000 officers and employees and sent most of them to jail. Is Justice Pamaran here? He must be somewhere around. Where's Justice Pamaran? There he is. There's the ombudsman.
Should review what happened to us. In 1972, Mr. Marcos declared martial law. Why did he declare martial law? If you read his pronouncement, he said there was anarchy in the street, there was a left and right rebellion, there was this and there was that. But there is only one reason, which he never said. He wanted to prolong his stay in Malacanang sapagkat napakasarap.
Ilinaw ng mga dato ng tribong Manobo na hindi mga sundalo ng Philippine Army ang pumatay sa kanilang kapwa-lumad sa Lianga, Surigao del Sur.
Ngayon, bakit nagkagulo-gulo at siniraan kami? Kasi yung taga-kabilamangan NDF, New People's Army, naggawa sila ng baganin nila na pulang manggugubat, baganin pulang manggugubat. Doon sa Mindanao, mayroong 4 o 6 na seksyon.
Sa pinaglalaban ngayon sa mga bagani, ma'am, pag naditin sila doon sa kulungan, talagang free will na yung NPA na labas-pasok doon sa ancestral doon namin.
Laman din ng balita, nagsilikas ang mahigit 1,000 lumad sa loob ng United Church of Christ of the Philippines o UCCP sa Haran, Davao City. Ang tribal leader na si Dato Nestor Apas, inirereklamo ang kinahinatnan ng kanyang mga katribo.
Doon sa community, ma'am, yung mga NPA mag-organisa, bawat community bigyan ng mensahe, padala ng mensahe na ilan sa inyo, punta kayo doon sa Davao upang maggawa tayo ng yung dialogue with the President and iba pang mga personality sa bayan sa Pilipinas.
So may mga ginamit silang
tao? May mga ginamit silang tao. Pagkatapos, at saka sabihan pa na bigyan kayo ng 5,000 na pira, 1 sako na bigas. Yung mga ganyan, ma'am, kasi kami sa taga-community, bihira lang kami makatanggap yung bigay.
Ang payak na pamumuhay ng mga katutubo sa kapundukan, pilit umanong ginugulo ng mga rebelde.
Hindi kami free doon. Dinidiscriminate kami, inaapakan ng rights namin ng mga NPA. Alam ko kahit dito sa pagharap namin sa media, delikado ito. Pero ang ano na lang namin, ma-open sa publiko na kami naghihirap, umaasa kami yung mga tao na sinasabi na tumutulong sa amin. Pero sa ngayon, nakita namin sila yung dahilan bakit naghirap.
Hindi na kami makapunction as a leader of the communities because sa kanilang mga kasamahan ng mga NPA na sila na nagkukontrol sa amin doon sa community. Ang ginagawa po nila doon sa community namin ay araw-araw na lang napaspasok doon sa community.
Na nanawagan na handa kayo makipag-
Si Duterte naman, na dati kong estudyante sa Lyceum, he has very nice things to say about me, and I also have many nice things to say about him.
Duterte, maluwag yung bunga. Sabi niya, yung kapag akong presidente, isang paa ng NPA nasa mga ready for coalition.
Para magkita-kita at magkaisa.
Yun ang tutunan ko sa iyo, sir. Salamat.
Maraming salamat.
Sige, sir.